You've been listening to the True Cash Flow Podcast, where we show you our best strategies and techniques we implement to build streams of passive income online, generating millions of dollars in revenue last year alone. To get some of our free training videos, just go to truecashflow.com and we will send you our quick start guide for free.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 key phases to building an online business. A lot of people, they ask, what's the starting point? What do I do after that? And I have a 16-step process, but I want to explain what the 3 key points are to building your online business. And then there's subcategories, and I'll give you the overview, but it really is 3 phases to building any online business.
There's a lot to it, isn't there?
There is, the building an online business or building any kind of business, it's, there's always going to be steps involved. So when you follow the steps and you have a game plan, it sets you up for a better chance of having even more success. Because if you just go about it, a lot of people, they think it's this huge, big process, but, you just got to take it one chunk at a time and just take one step at a time and understand what the entire process is, but also understand that you only need to worry about one piece of the puzzle at a time.
Right. So it's easier to look at it as the basic steps and then 3 key phases.
It is, yeah. And when it comes to building an Amazon business, the process itself is pretty simple. The 3rd phase is where it gets really fun when you're doing the marketing and getting on the first page of Amazon and things like that. That's the really fun part. The rest of it leading up to that is just a process. And then the very first step of finding the product is, so the first step is the only one that really requires a lot of thought.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're just following the processes, everything from finding the right product, and that's where you decide what's the right product for you, is based on, it's not what you love, but if you can compete, if the margins are there. And we have an entire video all about this. If you go to truecashflow.com, you can enter just your first name and your email. It's really hard to show you how to do that here, on an audio, but if you go to truecashflow.com, enter just your first name and your email, I have a video that I'll send out that shows you how you find the right product and what criteria. And, there's a program that you use that all you have to do is go inside that program, tell it how many reviews to sort by products, depending on the reviews, the price, the category. If it sells well, you can compete and the margins are there, then it doesn't really matter what product you choose because there's so many different products. It doesn't have to be something you're passionate about, but if it meets the formula, then that might be a good product to start with, and you launch your second and third and fourth. But the only reason I wanted to mention about the video is because that's the part of the 16-step process that's broken down into 3 chunks. So the first chunk is all about finding the right product. So doing your product research, finding the right product, that is the very first step in all this. Because once you've done that, the rest, the pieces will fall into place. It's just going through it and actually implementing each one of the steps. It doesn't really take much thought at that point.
Right. And everything is based off of that first key phase, which is finding the right product.
Yeah, because once you find the right product, and that's where a lot of people do get hung up on
They
that.
do. They really, really do.
Yeah, because they're always thinking like they're second guessing themselves, even though they can see it sells well, they know they can compete, they know the margins are there, but they're still second guessing themselves because, that's a big decision. Doing shipping labels, getting it to Amazon, those are just processes.
A process, right?
Yeah, that doesn't take any thought, right? It's just like, okay, the product's ready. Now it has to get shipped and I have to create a label. And yeah, there's little intricate pieces to each one of those phases, but none of it that you have to like sit and think what you're going to do. It's just doing it, sending it, and then ultimately when the product gets to Amazon, then following those steps. But that's the key phase. Is the first one is the hardest, and the third phase is actually the most fun.
It is. That's what I was going to say. It really is. But so the first phase is finding the right product, and that is more, you'd say, a little bit more creative. Whereas the second phase is more technical.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it, because the first phase, creative's a good way to put it.
That's how I look at it.
It is, yeah, because you know, like what one person thinks margins should be is not the same as the next person.
Exactly.
So you have to be creative enough to think, okay, maybe I want to sell in pet supplies, but maybe something in home and kitchen is better. And then thinking about, that's the creative part, that it was good that you said that, because thinking about like, okay, what do I want to do for a logo and,
right, but you still
and
have
boxes.
You still have to follow that formula at the same time.
That's right, because all it boils down to is the three basics. You know, does it sell well if you can compete and the margins are there? That's all that you really need to know about each product. But putting your own spin on it's a lot of fun, and deciding, okay, I'm going to put this logo on it, or I'm going to put it in this box. And, you know, we have fun all the time doing that. Saying, you know, why don't we try, you know, this kind of box or this kind of packaging, or why don't we change it up and maybe put the logo on the product and have like a clean, you know, matte finish box, or, you know, there's so many different ways, and you get to be creative and kind of decide, as long as you know it meets the criteria. Then you get to put your own creativity on it, make it your own, which we call, you know, the white labeling. So the first one is, that phase is what takes a little more thought and a little bit more creativity. I mean, you don't have to be creative at all, but that makes it more fun if you want to, you know? Yeah, and that's the fun part of all this.
Absolutely. So now the second phase is more so step-by-step process, and it's more technical, where really I think that is probably the easiest phase, where, at least to me, because it's like I have something in front of me that I can follow.
Yeah, and a lot of people are really task-oriented. If you tell them, this is what you do next, this is what you do right after that, this is what you do right after that, the second phase, to me, is the most boring, right? But that's just task-oriented. It takes no brain work, because you're pretty much just following the steps. And on that part of the phase, it's ultimate, and I'll describe what that is. So that part of the phase is getting your product to Amazon, uploading your pictures, and you know, you can have a little fun with that, be creative with what pictures you decide to go up there. But you know, pictures of products are kind of pictures of products, right? You know, you can make it stand out, you can make it unique from everyone else, but make your own spin on the picture. But you know, the picture is the picture, right? I mean, and so you're creating your listing, you're getting, and then ultimately getting your product shipped to Amazon. For me, the supplements are made in the US, so the supplements, anything that I put on my body or in my body, you know, I want to come from US. Pretty much any other physical product, you know, China is a great place for that. But if you want to purchase products here in the States, it's the same process. If you want to use a sourcing company, a manufacturer that's right here in the States, you could certainly do that too. But China is just, you know, when you see two identical products and you see one costs, you know, 70% less than the one made in USA, you know, you got to remember, because you're still giving jobs to people in the US just by doing this, right? I mean, there's still people that are benefiting in terms of, you know, still generating money for the USA, even though they're importing from China. There was a great article I read. It was saying something like, of all the products that are sourced from China, about 60% of that money stays in the US, right? So that's pretty cool. Like, so still the lion's share of the money that's generated stays in the US, and it helps the US. So, you know, a lot of people, they are anti made in China stuff, but hey, still 60% of the money being here. If that's going to be the difference between you having a business and not having a business, I would much rather have 60% of the money be in the US than 100% of zero stay in the US. So that's the second phase. And the second phase is all the way ultimately up to your product right now is ready to sell. So now your product is in the Amazon warehouses and your listing is live, and this is really when it gets really fun. It is, you know, the marketing, and, you know, we talk a lot about marketing and all those different strategies. On a previous show, we were talking about FameBit. That's just, you know, one of the 20-something things that we teach about marketing, but that's something that can help any business. So that's why I wanted to talk about that on, you know, a couple shows ago. But it's, in terms of the marketing, that's where you can separate yourself from, because, you know, people ask us all the time, you know, is it too late to sell on Amazon? Is it too saturated? You know, how am I going to make my own way? I mean, we hear the same questions all the time, right? All the time. And then when we see them succeed and we watch them do well, it's like, you know, it feels really good, because, you know, they had that self-doubt. They thought, how am I going to outmarket? But, you know, after, you know, years and years of internet marketing, generating millions of dollars online, I've kind of learned the difference between what works and what doesn't work, and what works today and what used to work but no longer works today. And marketing, I've said it on the shows before, all marketing is guessing and testing. So I've done the guessing, you've done the guessing, you've done the testing, I've done the testing. And that's what makes it so good because, I'm really clear about what doesn't work too. And it might work for someone else, but it doesn't work for me. So it's not something that I'm going to spend my time with if I just know it doesn't work. And the marketing pieces, it's like, even right now in 2018, there's more marketing pieces that, that people just didn't have, before. I mean, it's like a whole new world out there. And that's what's so fun about phase 3 of all this is because the marketing part, I mean, sure, everyone knows you can run ads, but how do you run ads cost effectively where you actually make money off running ads? I've seen so many people that just think that you run an ad and you make money, where in fact they end up spending more money on ads than they're actually generating in profit, right? And that's not going to help anybody. And there's different strategies too. You might want to run some ads just to spike that Amazon algorithm, make more sales, kind of go in the hole a little bit. But that's one of the 20-something ways that you can market product.
And it's really cool to see some of our students come on the show and help us with the marketing phase, where now we're having the Amazon ranking course as well.
Yeah, the AmazonRankingCourse.com. That's from Sam Freeney, one of our Inner Circle students that was one of the top students. I mean, what do you do, like 6,000 products in like 5 months or something like that?
Oh my goodness, it was insane.
Yeah, it was so, and that's what's fun about just being like the Inner Circle itself is that, there's always people that are going to know that will perfect certain aspects that, bring more value into the mastermind and more value to the people that are, because you're only a student so long, and then at some point you're a peer, right? I mean, it's not like, you're like sometimes I learn from them, sometimes you learn from
all the time.
them, and that's what's fun, right? Because it's, you can never know everything. I mean, it doesn't matter how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have listened to these shows, doesn't matter how many videos have been watched. I still don't know everything, and I've never seen so many people that are so willing to help, and that's what is exciting for me because I get to also benefit from the learning from the students that, it doesn't matter how many, tens of thousands of products I've sold, I can still learn from any person that is a contributor, not just there to learn, but there to also help the fellow students. So that's a lot of fun, huh?
Absolutely.
And if you're open-minded, teachable, and coachable, and those 3 phases, if you feel like you can handle those 3 phases, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of steps in there. Just go to truecashflow.com, enter just your first name and your email, and we'll meet you on the other side.
You were listening to the True Cash Flow Podcast. If you would like our free training videos, go to truecashflow.com, enter just your first name and email address, and we will meet you on the other side. The information presented in this podcast is intended for your educational and informational purposes only. None of the statements contained in this podcast should be viewed as a prediction, guarantee, or promise that participating in our recommended programs will result in you generating a certain amount of income or achieving any level of monetary success. Success in any endeavor is based on a number of factors, including but not limited to hard work and capital resources. There are inherent risks in any business opportunity, and caution should be exercised before applying our information. You are encouraged to consult your attorney, CPA, or financial advisor before doing so.